Hi everyone, and welcome to a new module on Oracle Trades. One of the questions we're being asked a lot is how do you plan your day and what resources do you use to set yourself up for your trading? And I thought it would be a good idea to maybe walk through how I do this. And there is no one size fits all. There's just such a vast amount of data available that it's very easy to get distracted or even possibly follow the wrong information if you're unlucky. So here's how some of my colleagues and I do this. Usually we have one or two news sources and then one or two financial market sources. So FX Street, for example, is a fantastic resource when it comes to Forex, but also when it comes to other news sources. But their original calling was really around currency. So you can see they have this economic calendar here, which will show you all the key events that are going to happen. And you can filter this and you can save those filtered results. So if you don't care about what's happening in Australia or New Zealand, you can actually change those filters here, and you can just select the geographies you're interested. And you can also decide that you only want to look at high impact events and not every single event. So you can see here, you can take away things with no and low impact, and then you can also remove basically categories that you're not interested in, and then you can save that. So this is very handy to keep you focused on key news events, and these news events will often impact currency trading pairs, especially if you have a dollar in your currency trading, but also other currencies, because everything is interlinked. So when there's a Fed chair speech, for example, probably a good idea not to trade pre and post that event unless you really know what you're doing and you're willing to take that risk, because a lot of times the speeches or key events can trigger a very unpredictable and erratic spike, which can stop you out very easily. So our recommendation, if you're a beginner or intermediate trading enthusiast, avoid trading the news. Now, there are moments when you can actually trade the news, especially when the events are not that important to what you're doing. So, for example, the unemployment statistics come out and you want to trade stock, and you have certain stocks that you think are impacted by an event like the unemployment statistics. It's unlikely that the share price of stocks will, at least of bigger companies, will swing dramatically because of news items, but it could give you a competitive edge to quickly react to news, especially if it was unexpected. But back to FX Street. So it's a nice website. You can register for free. In fact, most of the offering is free, which is really nice. And the update of the news articles, especially in the currency space, is amazing. They really have a lot of up-to-date and super recent content. You can see here, this was just written 50 minutes ago. So really, really good resource. Would I trade with them because they have their trading studio for premium members? I don't know. I haven't done that with them. I only use them as a resource. Do I use them for cryptos? Not really, but they have some good articles, more general news. This is not a source I would use for, high newsworthiness. This is more researching and really good articles, but not as newsworthy as, for example, their Forex section. Right, so after FX Street, I usually go to websites like CNBC, but it could be CNN, and I also have Bloomberg open, as you can see. And these websites are more for a general sentiment on the trading ahead. Maybe there's a public holiday that I'm not aware of in the US. So I just like to see a little bit what's going on, what's the sentiment of the market. And, it depends if you're in currency or you're in tech, stock, or you're doing bonds or options. So there's always something for you. But it's quite good to see what's happening If you're in stocks, for example, you can look at the earnings releases and gauge a bit if there's something that would trigger your interest. And I do the same with Bloomberg. Bloomberg has the advantage, they have the Bloomberg TV channel. However, if you want to watch it, it's not free. You can only watch like, I think 20 minutes or so in the morning. But you know, hey, it's 20 minutes of good content on TV. Do you need Bloomberg TV? In my opinion, no. It's a nice backdrop if you're trading and you want to hear to something that's going on, but it can also be a bit distracting, and it's also lagging often. So it's not as up to date as, for example, Twitter feeds, especially because it can't cover everything in a TV channel. It has to be a bit generic. But generally, I love Bloomberg. Obviously, very good news quality. Then I go into the markets and I have a look what's happening. So I never trade the open. I always go in a bit later, like an hour into the trade. So when the markets open, I can have a look at what's going on in the indices, the futures, the currencies. But even on things like stocks, you get a lot of nice content and also ideas from other users on TradingView. Please don't overrate what you see here. This is all written by people who have an idea or a thought. It doesn't mean this is what's going to happen. In fact, often it doesn't. So I would prefer if you focus on news, on uncensored and unbiased news data analysis, or simply the charts, right? So TradingView is amazing because it gives you everything. Whether it's crypto, futures, stocks, I mean, it is simply the single best resource, not just for the charting capability in case you know TradingView, but also for the awareness of what's going on a macro level. And what I love even more is the stock screener or the Forex screeners. If you're not familiar with these screeners, it's quite easy to use. Essentially, what you do is you create a certain amount of filters. So I've done a few here, and based on those filters, only those stocks will appear that match those filters. So for example, if you're looking for stocks that are valued at between $10 and $80, and the change from the open in percent was greater than 10% in either direction, the pre-market volume was over 50,000 shares. And what else did we put in here? I think it's those three filters. Then all you get is effectively one stock, right? So that's not a lot, but you can restrict the filter or loosen it a bit as you wish. And this is great to see any stocks that meet a criteria that you would like to trade. So in this case, Nielsen had a substantial pre-opening swing. So this would have been a nice opportunity to trade this short. As you can see, there's been a spike. So I would have checked, and I haven't done my homework yet, so I'm just speculating here, what has triggered the increase from 18 to 24 is a substantial market open. So maybe there's some news. Is it sustainable? Probably not. In fact, it's already pulling back here. But this is a really nice way of screening and cutting through the noise of the vastness of the markets. You apply your filters with whatever you want to see, and then you just refresh those filters and you can see what's going on. You can also change the columns here. So if you want to really focus on the things you want to see, it's extremely customizable and it's free. So again, amazing tool. Forex scanner, crypto scanner, the heat maps, and then obviously there's the community. But I don't usually use the community to get trading advice. It's more of a, sentiment gauging, or maybe when there's some downtime just to catch up on some of the gossip and, sometimes good ideas, but generally I prefer to focus on the news and the data that I pull myself. Then there's another resource which I'm not sure you're aware of, Multicoin charts. Multicoin charts essentially uses TradingView and it displays TradingView graphs here. So I've set this up for crypto, for example. And the reason this exists and why it's quite useful is that with TradingView, you need to have a premium account. And only with that premium account can you see multiple charts. 4 charts in the layout, you got to pay $30 per month. If you want to have 8 charts in one layout, you can have to pay $60 a month. Multicoin charts is free, and it essentially allows you to put as many charts on a screen as you like and as makes sense for your screen size. In our case, we have a width of 3 and a height of 3, but I could easily make this 4 and 4. And you can also establish the default interval for all the charts and and set some more parameters. Super handy. I love multi-coin charts. I'm not sure what TradingView thinks about them because they're essentially using TradingView charts to display this information. But hey, I think they're doing us a service, and I do feel that paying $60 just to see 9 charts on the screen is a little bit over the top. However, if you do like TradingView, I would recommend that you maybe go with the Pro version, because it does allow you to do a lot more on the alerts side of things. You can see here 20 server-side alerts. So if you want to get alerted for something that's happening in the markets, this is pretty important and pretty useful. And in addition, you can also get 2 charts in one window. So if you want to do a bit more deep analysis, it's better to do that in TradingView rather than use multi-coin charts. But I keep multi-coin charts on a screen usually just to see what's going on with the hourly chart usually. And then also for the cryptos, for example, they always behave similarly, but sometimes they don't, right? In this case, you see Dogecoin here versus USDT is actually dropping, whereas BNB USDT is going up. So sometimes you can spot a good opportunity to enter a currency unless there's something that deters you from entering. But it's just a nice way to visualize what's going on. Of course, Twitter. And I'm not looking at Tesla videos here, but this is a good resource to get up to date and really newsworthy information on what's going on. I really recommend you set up your Twitter account if you don't have that already, or you use even things like TweetDeck, where you can look for certain terms and basically see what's going on. This is really more for general research or for trading the news. If you want to trade the news, situations like wars, economic updates, oil price, Twitter can be an advantage because of the real-time nature. But it's very difficult to get good, reliable news sources. There's a lot of noise in Twitter, and you really have to know what you're listening to, what you're focusing on, and who you're trusting. While we're in the crypto space, obviously Binance as a resource, not only for trading, but also for general market research. I prefer that actually over TradingView for the crypto space, simply because Binance doesn't do anything but crypto. So it's a really versatile platform to do analysis and research on, obviously also to trade. So it's quite easy if you've done your research to actually put that into action. So we have an account here with Binance, and that's where we would place our trades accordingly. And if you are not familiar with Binance, there's loads of other video resources online. I think it's the best platform, but that's a matter of taste. There's obviously other platforms like Kraken or Coinbase, but I'm personally a big fan of Binance and only have good things to say about them and their customer service. Lastly, a website that I don't use every day, but that I like to go to once in a while is CoinMarketCap. Again, this is more for the crypto part of the trading, to see what's going on. Are there any newcomers in the top 20 that were previously unnoticed? So in this case, I would sort by market capitalization, but it could also be by the volume over the last 24 hours. You could see that somehow a new coin is popping up, and CoinMarketCap is really good to gauge that in a very easy to understand and to maneuver way. So I don't usually trade off here, but it's good to keep an eye out for smaller coins that may be shooting up over time. So those are essentially the resources I use to set up myself up for my trading day. There's a lot more you can use, and probably also you should use like the news resources from your trading broker. So if you're trading with Interactive Brokers or Schwab or TradeStation, they have their own news feeds that they curate. However, I like to generally get my insights from other platforms so that I'm not biased by just one source that my broker decides to provide me with. But that's a matter of taste. So I'm curious, why don't you tell me in the comments what other sources you use to set up your trading day, regardless of whether it's for stock, for crypto, for bonds, options, you name it. I hope you liked this video, and thanks so much for watching, and see you guys soon. Happy trading.